What is karma? Not a punishment, but the natural law of cause and effect. Why do good people sometimes suffer, while those who cheat and harm seem to prosper? Is life merely random, or is there a deeper order behind the apparent chaos? Across centuries and cultures, the concept of karma has tried to answer this fundamental human question. Yet in popular imagination, karma has often been misunderstood as a cosmic system of reward and punishment, a sort of divine bookkeeping where good deeds earn blessings and bad deeds bring curses. But the Buddha's teaching reveals something far more profound, liberating, and scientific. Karma is not punishment. It is not fate imposed by gods or destiny written in stone. Karma is simply the natural law of cause and effect applied to human thought, speech, and action. Just as planting seeds determines the harvest, so too do our choices shape our future. In today's world of anxiety, injustice, and uncertainty, karma is more than a spiritual curiosity. It is a tool for solving real problems. Understanding karma means reclaiming responsibility for our lives, breaking free from victimhood, and learning to sow seeds of wisdom, compassion, and clarity instead of ignorance and suffering. Karma in the Buddha's teaching. From misconception to clarity. When we hear the word karma today, we might think of quick retribution. Someone cuts us off in traffic, and minutes later they get a flat tire. Karma got them. Social media thrives on these moments of instant karma. But this idea of karma as punishment, as some cosmic cop delivering justice, is far removed from what the Buddha taught. To understand karma properly, we must return to its roots, trace how it evolved in Indian thought, and see how the Buddha redefined it in a way that is both liberating and deeply practical. The pre-Buddhist origins of karma. Long before the Buddha, the word karma, from the Sanskrit karman, meaning action or deed, already carried significant weight in Indian culture. In the Vedic period, around 1500 BCE, karma was understood primarily in ritual terms. To perform a sacrifice correctly according to the prescribed chants and offerings was to generate positive karma that pleased the gods and secured blessings, rain for crops, victory in battle, wealth, and health. Karma here was ritual action with cosmic consequences. If a ritual was neglected or performed incorrectly, misfortune would follow. In the later Upanishads, around 800–400 BCE, the idea of karma deepened. Instead of focusing only on external rituals, the Upanishadic sages emphasized moral action and the continuity of the soul, Atman, through multiple lives. Karma became linked with rebirth. One's actions in this life determine the circumstances of future lives. A person who lived virtuously might be reborn in higher realms, while one who acted cruelly might fall into lower states. Yet the metaphysics of the Upanishads were rooted in the belief in an eternal soul that migrated from body to body. Karma, in this vision, was the law binding the soul to the cycle of rebirth, samsara. Meanwhile, the Jain tradition, which developed alongside early Buddhism, carried karma to an extreme. The Jains taught that karma was a kind of subtle material substance that literally stuck to the soul when one acted, spoke, or even thought in unwholesome ways. To achieve liberation, one had to burn away karma through severe ascetic practices, fasting, renunciation, and self-mortification. Jain monks often went to extremes of nonviolence, sweeping the ground before walking to avoid killing insects, or wearing cloth masks to avoid harming tiny beings in the air. Thus, when Siddhartha Gautama, the man who would become the Buddha, began his spiritual search, the concept of karma was already firmly established in multiple Indian traditions. But he found in them both limitations and distortions. Rituals that bound people in superstition, philosophies that either trapped them in fatalism or demanded impossible ascetic extremes. The Buddha's radical redefinition. The Buddha's breakthrough was to strip karma of metaphysical excess and ritualistic baggage and return it to its simplest, most profound meaning: intention. In the Anguttara Nikaya, in 663, the Buddha states, "It is volition, monks, that I call karma. For having willed, one acts by body, speech, and mind." This was revolutionary. Karma was not about appeasing gods or performing sacrifices. It was not about an eternal soul being weighed down by some cosmic substance. Karma was not even about what happened to us, but about what we do, the mental quality of our choices. When driven by greed, hatred, or delusion, actions create suffering. When rooted in generosity, compassion, and wisdom, actions create peace and freedom. In this way, the Buddha's teaching recentered karma and human agency. We are not puppets of gods or prisoners of fate. Our future unfolds from our intentions. Every moment offers the possibility of planting wholesome seeds instead of unwholesome ones. Common misconceptions: punishment, fate, divine judgment. Even today, misunderstandings about karma abound. Three of the most common distortions parallel ancient misconceptions. Karma as punishment. Many assume that suffering is punishment for past misdeeds. But the Buddha never spoke of karma in terms of judgment or retribution. There is no divine overseer rewarding or punishing. Karma is like gravity, neutral, impersonal, inevitable. Drop a stone, it falls. Speak with anger, it creates pain. The law itself has no malice. Karma as fate. Another misconception sees karma as destiny. Everything that happens is predetermined by past actions. This fatalism paralyzes, leaving no room for change. The Buddha rejected this. Karma influences but does not dictate. Present actions matter. At every moment, new seeds can be planted. Karma as divine bookkeeping. Some imagine a cosmic accountant tallying good and bad deeds, delivering rewards and punishments in a future life. The Buddha dismissed such personifications. Karma is not administered by anyone. It is simply the unfolding of cause and effect. By rejecting these misconceptions, the Buddha freed people from fear and superstition. He taught that karma is not a prison, but a path, a way to understand suffering and cultivate liberation. Karma and responsibility. Between eternalism and nihilism, at the time of the Buddha, philosophers and ascetics often fell into two extremes. Eternalism, the belief in an eternal soul controlled by fate, condemned to endless cycles unless released by divine grace or metaphysical realization. Nihilism, the belief that nothing mattered, that actions had no consequences beyond the present, so one could live however one pleased. The Buddha rejected both. He taught the middle way. Actions do matter, but they matter precisely because they are impermanent and conditioned. There is no eternal self being punished or rewarded, only processes of cause and effect unfolding. This view empowered people. It meant that liberation was possible not by pleasing gods or escaping existence, but by transforming one's actions here and now. Responsibility lay not in destiny, but in present intention. The seed metaphor. How thoughts, words, and deeds create conditions. The Buddha often compared karma to planting seeds. When we act with intention, it is as though we plant a seed in the soil of our lives. A seed of anger may not sprout immediately, but under the right conditions, it can blossom into conflict, resentment, or violence. A seed of generosity may seem small, but over time it can yield trust, friendship, and joy. Just as a farmer cannot control the rain or the sun, but can choose what seeds to sow, so too we cannot control every circumstance in life, but can influence the direction of our future through intentional action. Importantly, seeds can also lose their potency if conditions change. This means past karma does not eternally determine us. Through mindfulness, restraint, and compassion, we can weaken the seeds of unwholesome karma and strengthen those of wholesome karma. This is why practice matters. Stories from the Pali Canon. The Pali Canon is rich with stories that illustrate karma as natural law, not divine judgment. In one discourse, a monk asks why some people are wealthy while others are poor, why some are healthy while others suffer illness. The Buddha explains these differences in terms of past actions, generosity leading to wealth, violence leading to suffering, but always as tendencies, not fated decrees. Present actions still have immense power. Another story tells of Angulimala, a feared bandit who killed many and wore a garland of fingers around his neck. When he met the Buddha, his heart transformed and he became a monk. Though he still bore the consequences of his past, people feared him, some threw stones at him, he was no longer bound by hatred. This story shows both the weight of karma and the possibility of liberation through present choice. Such stories demonstrate that karma is not about punishment, but about cause and effect. Even the worst past can be transformed if one turns toward wisdom and compassion. Why understanding karma dissolves fear and empowers freedom. Misunderstood, karma can become a source of fear. What did I do to deserve this illness? Am I being punished? Understood rightly, karma brings clarity and courage. It dissolves fear because there is no cosmic judge condemning us. It empowers freedom because every moment holds the chance to act differently. We are not trapped by destiny or helpless before the gods. Our suffering is not meaningless, nor is it arbitrary. It arises from causes, and by changing causes, we can change results. The Buddha's teaching on karma is thus a teaching of responsibility with compassion. We are responsible for our intentions, but not condemned by them. The past shapes us, but does not define us. The future is open as our willingness to plant wholesome seeds in the present. 2. The mechanics of karma. How cause and effect operate. When most people hear the word karma, they imagine an invisible moral scoreboard, a cosmic judge handing out punishments and rewards. If you do bad things, the universe will punish you. If you do good things, you'll be rewarded. This is the folk version of karma, simple, moralistic, and often wielded to explain suffering or justify inequality. But in the Buddha's teaching, karma was not about an external force controlling destiny. It was about a natural law of cause and effect, as impersonal and precise as gravity. Understanding how this law operates is central to freeing ourselves from fear, confusion, and fatalism. Karma is not about what happens to us, but about what happens through us, our choices, intentions, and mental states shaping our lives. The Buddha shifted karma away from ritual sacrifices or divine bookkeeping into a practical science of the mind. To see karma clearly is to see how every thought, word, and action plants seeds that ripen into experiences for ourselves and others. And just as a gardener learns the rhythms of planting and harvest, we too can learn to sow wisely. This section will explore the mechanics of karma in detail. Why intention matters more than the mere act, the roots of wholesome and unwholesome states, the timing of karmic results, the role of conditions, how karma connects with rebirth, and how this principle is confirmed today by psychology and neuroscience. Karma and intention, satana. Why mental states matter most. In the Buddha's words, it is volition, monks, that I call karma. For having willed, one acts by body, speech, and mind. Anguttara Nikaya 663. This statement is revolutionary. It means karma is not the physical deed itself, but the intention behind it. If you step on an insect by accident, there is no karma in the Buddhist sense, because there was no intention to harm. But if you deliberately crush it out of irritation, that intention creates karmic weight. In the same way, giving a gift resentfully or only to impress others generates very different karma than giving with pure generosity. Why is intention so central? Because it reveals the state of the heart. Karma is not about the external form of an act, but the inner quality that fuels it. Two people might both speak the truth, but one may do so kindly to help, while the other may weaponize truth to humiliate. Outwardly the same, karmically very different. This emphasis shifts responsibility inward. Instead of obsessing over appearances or rituals, Buddhism calls us to examine the mind stream, the subtle currents of thought, emotion, and motivation that precede action. It is there, in the furnace of intention, that karma is born. Wholesome and unwholesome roots. The Buddha classified all karma according to three unwholesome roots: greed, lobha, hatred, dosa, and delusion, moha, and three wholesome roots: generosity, alobha, loving kindness, adosa, and wisdom, amoha. Greed creates karma that clings, hoards, and exploits. It's the hunger that never ends, fueling consumerism, addiction, and exploitation. Hatred poisons intention with ill will, vengeance, and cruelty. Its fruits are conflict, fear, and broken relationships. Delusion clouds perception, distorting reality with ignorance, superstition, or denial. Its fruits are confusion and self-deception. On the other hand, generosity opens the heart, planting seeds of joy and connection. Loving kindness softens enmity, fostering harmony and peace. Wisdom sees things as they are, dispelling ignorance and planting seeds of clarity. This framework is both simple and profound. Every action, no matter how small, can be traced to one of these roots. The moment we recognize whether greed, hatred, or delusion is behind our intention, we gain the power to uproot them and cultivate their opposites. Karma is no longer a mysterious force. It becomes a living feedback loop between cause and effect in the soil of the mind. Immediate, delayed, and long-term fruits of karma. One of the Buddha's great insights was that karma doesn't ripen all at once. Its results unfold across different timelines. Immediate effects. For example, when you lie, you may instantly feel anxiety or guilt. When you speak kindly, you feel warmth and connection right away. Delayed effects. Sometimes actions plant seeds that take weeks, years, or decades to ripen. A habit of harsh speech might not cause harm today, but over time it erodes trust and isolates you. A consistent practice of generosity may not bring instant reward, but gradually builds deep friendships and community. Long-term effects across lifetimes. The Buddha also taught that karma can extend beyond this lifetime, shaping future rebirths. Just as energy doesn't vanish but transforms, the currents of intention continue beyond physical death. This temporal framework explains why the world doesn't always look fair. Sometimes cruel people prosper while kind people suffer. But Buddhism doesn't view karma as a simplistic one-to-one ledger. It recognizes layers of cause and effect operating over time, influenced by countless conditions. Justice unfolds, but not always on our human schedule. Karma and rebirth. Continuity of causes beyond a single lifetime. For the Buddha, karma and rebirth were inseparable. Karma explains why beings are reborn in fortunate or unfortunate states, not as punishment, but as the natural unfolding of causes. Just as a flame can light another candle, the energy of intention continues, shaping new existence. The Buddha describes samsara, the endless cycle of birth and death, not as a doctrine to believe, but as a reality observed through meditation. His insight into past lives and the karmic unfolding of beings was part of his awakening. Rebirth ensures that karma is not limited to one short lifespan, but operates on the vast canvas of existence. For modern readers skeptical of rebirth, this can be understood in psychological terms. Our actions ripple into future generations, shaping culture, relationships, and collective memory. Whether one sees rebirth literally or metaphorically, karma ensures continuity. The seeds we plant do not vanish when we die. How karma interacts with conditions. The Buddha warned against oversimplifying karma as, everything happens because of past actions. If someone falls ill, it may be due to karma, but it may also be due to bacteria, genetics, or environment. Karma interacts with countless conditions. Think of karma as planting seeds. Whether they sprout depends on soil, water, sunlight, and weather. A seed of anger may not cause harm if external conditions don't support it. Likewise, a seed of generosity may bear great fruit if it finds fertile ground. This view liberates us from superstition. Not every misfortune is karmic punishment, and not every blessing is karmic reward. Instead, karma is one strand in the vast web of dependent origination, where all phenomena arise through conditions. Karma versus determinism, the space for free will and choice. One of the Buddha's most radical positions was his rejection of fatalism. In his time, many believed destiny was fixed, whether through divine will, caste, or past karma. The Buddha declared otherwise. If karma were wholly determined by the past, then there would be no scope for effort, no possibility of liberation. Karma is not fate, but potential. The past has planted seeds, but how we respond in the present moment determines whether those seeds grow or wither. Every moment is fresh ground, with new choices available. This is why mindfulness is essential. It creates space to recognize intention before action, breaking the automatic cycles of craving and aversion. Freedom lies not in erasing the past, but in shaping how it bears fruit. The role of mindfulness in seeing karma. Unfold in real time. Mindfulness, sati, is the microscope through which we observe karma. Without mindfulness, our intentions remain unconscious, and we act on habit. With mindfulness, we notice, this thought is rooted in greed. This word is spoken from anger. This action arises from delusion. By catching intention at the seed stage, we can redirect. Instead of speaking a harsh word, we pause and choose kindness. Instead of indulging a craving, we observe it until it dissolves. Each moment of awareness is a karmic turning point. Over time, mindfulness reveals patterns. We see how certain mental states always lead to suffering, while others lead to peace. Karma stops being an abstract doctrine and becomes lived wisdom, a map of cause and effect unfolding before our eyes. Modern parallels: psychology, neuroscience, and behavioral science. Remarkably, modern science increasingly confirms what the Buddha taught 2,500 years ago. Psychology shows how habits, cognitive biases, and emotional conditioning shape behavior, mirroring the karmic law of seeds and results. Neuroscience demonstrates brain plasticity. Repeated intentions carve neural pathways, making future actions easier. Karma is literally wired into the nervous system. Behavioral science confirms that reinforcement, whether positive or negative, creates long-term patterns echoing karmic ripening. When we meditate, practice mindfulness, or cultivate compassion, we are rewiring the brain. We are planting wholesome karmic seeds that reshape perception and behavior. Far from being mystical, karma is an early articulation of principles now validated by science. Why understanding karma is liberating? When people misunderstand karma as punishment, they live in fear. When they see it as fate, they live in resignation. But when they understand karma as natural law, they live in empowerment. Every thought and act becomes an opportunity. Every moment is a chance to plant seeds of wisdom, kindness, and freedom. The past shapes us, but it does not chain us. The present moment is always fertile ground for liberation. This is why the Buddha emphasized karma not as a doctrine to debate, but as a practical tool for awakening. To see karma clearly is to see responsibility clearly, not as a burden, but as freedom. Third, karma for the modern world, a path to personal and collective liberation. When people today hear the word karma, it often gets flattened into a pop culture slogan: what goes around comes around. A meme of someone slipping on ice after being rude to a stranger is labeled instant karma. This superficial treatment misses the radical depth of the Buddha's teaching. For him, karma was not about cosmic punishment, but about empowerment, the realization that our intentions shape not only who we are becoming, but also the kind of world we create together. To truly understand karma in the modern age, we must bridge the Buddha's timeless insights with the crises we face today: anxiety, fractured relationships, injustice, ecological collapse, and a culture of blame. Karma is not a relic of ancient philosophy, but a living principle, more urgent than ever. It teaches us to take responsibility without guilt, to practice compassion without naivety, and to engage with the world without falling into despair. In this section, we will explore how karma can serve as a path to both personal and collective liberation. We'll look at how it applies to personal growth, relationships, society, and ecology, as well as the dangers of its misuse in modern culture. Finally, we'll uncover practical ways to consciously cultivate wholesome karma and envision how individual awakening can ripple outward into a global transformation. Karma and personal growth, breaking cycles of anger, craving, and fear. Modern life often feels like a loop. People repeat patterns of anger, addictive craving, or paralyzing fear. Even when they want to change, they lash out at loved ones, indulge in unhealthy habits, or shrink back from opportunities, then regret it, promising to do better next time. Yet the cycle repeats. Karma explains why. Each time an intention leads to action, it strengthens a habit. Anger reinforced becomes quicker to arise. Craving indulged becomes harder to resist. Fear avoided becomes more crippling. These are karmic grooves etched into the mind. But karma also explains how to break free. Because karma is rooted in intention, every moment offers a chance to plant a new seed. When anger arises, pausing to breathe instead of exploding weakens the old groove and creates a new one. When craving arises, choosing to observe it mindfully rather than indulge it plants the seed of freedom. When fear appears, stepping forward instead of retreating weakens avoidance and builds courage. This is not abstract. Neuroscience shows the same principle. Repeated actions wire the brain, while new choices carve fresh pathways. Karma and science agree. Freedom comes not from erasing the past, but from choosing differently in the present. Personal growth is nothing other than conscious karmic transformation. Karma in relationships: love, betrayal, forgiveness, and trust. Few areas of life reveal karma as vividly as relationships. Every word, every gesture, every silence plants seeds that ripen into trust or suspicion, closeness or distance, love or resentment. Love is nourished by intentions rooted in generosity and compassion. Acts of kindness, listening, and presence accumulate into deep connection. Betrayal shatters relationships because the karma of deceit or selfishness destroys trust. Even if forgiven, the karmic seeds linger, requiring time and effort to heal. Forgiveness is powerful not because it erases the past, but because it transforms the karmic chain. Holding on to resentment continues the cycle of harm. Forgiving plants seeds of release, freeing both self and other. Trust grows not from grand gestures, but from consistent intentions. Small acts of honesty, reliability, and care. Karma shows us that relationships thrive or wither not by accident, but through patterns of intention. When relationships falter, karma offers a way forward. Instead of blaming fate or the other person alone, we ask, what seeds have I planted? What seeds can I plant now? This shift from blame to responsibility opens the door to reconciliation and growth. Karma in society, justice without vengeance, ethics without dogma. At the societal level, karma has radical implications. Modern justice systems are often built on punishment. Harm is met with retribution. But karma shows that harm cannot be undone by more harm. Only new seeds of wisdom and compassion can break the cycle. This is why the Buddha spoke of justice not as vengeance, but as the transformation of intention. A thief punished with cruelty may become more hardened, planting further unwholesome seeds. A thief rehabilitated through compassion and responsibility may plant new seeds of honesty. Justice from the karmic view is about changing conditions so wholesome roots can grow. Likewise, ethics in Buddhism is not about dogma or divine command. It is about cause and effect. To kill, steal, lie, or exploit is unwholesome, not because a god forbids it, but because such actions always lead to suffering. To practice generosity, honesty, and compassion is wholesome, not because of external reward, but because they lead to peace. In an age of political polarization and moral confusion, karma provides a framework for ethics that is universal, practical, and free of ideology. Do actions rooted in greed, hatred, and delusion ever lead to true happiness? If not, why plant them? Karma and ecology, actions shaping the planet's future. Nowhere is the collective dimension of karma clearer than in our relationship with the earth. Climate change, deforestation, pollution, and mass extinction are not acts of fate. They are the karmic results of centuries of human craving and ignorance. Consumption without restraint, growth without wisdom, exploitation without compassion. Each flight, each plastic bag, each industrial decision is a karmic seed. Alone, one seed may seem small, but together they create ecological catastrophe. Yet karma also points to hope. Just as harmful actions accumulate, so do wholesome ones. Every act of conservation, mindful consumption, and ecological care plants seeds for the planet's healing. The law of cause and effect is impartial. Just as destruction ripens, so too can restoration. Seeing ecology through the lens of karma helps us move beyond guilt and despair into responsibility and empowerment. Instead of blaming governments or corporations alone, we ask, what seeds can I plant today? Small actions ripple outward, creating cultural shifts. Collective karma begins with individual choice. Modern misuses of karma, instant karma, victim blaming, and fatalism. For all its depth, karma is often misunderstood and misused in modern culture. Instant karma memes reduce it to slapstick justice, trivializing its profound meaning. Victim blaming arises when people say, they must have bad karma, to explain suffering. This distorts the teaching, ignoring that karma is only one of many conditions, and never an excuse for cruelty or indifference. Fatalism appears when people think, it's my karma, I can't change it. But the Buddha emphasized that karma is flexible. New choices can transform the future. These misuses reveal the dangers of half-understanding. They turn a teaching meant to liberate into a tool for judgment or passivity. To reclaim karma, we must return to the Buddha's original intent: empowerment, compassion, and freedom. How to consciously cultivate wholesome karma. If karma is cause and effect, then the path forward is clear. Plant seeds wisely. The Buddha gave many practical tools for cultivating wholesome karma. Mindfulness, observing intentions before they solidify into action. Compassion, karuna, acting with the wish to relieve suffering. Wise speech, using words to heal rather than harm. Skillful livelihood, earning a living without exploitation or harm. Generosity dana, loosening greed by giving freely. Ethical precepts, guiding behavior in ways that prevent harm. Each of these is not a rule to obey, but a karmic experiment. When I practice mindfulness, does it lead to peace or turmoil? When I speak with kindness, does it build trust or resentment? By seeing results directly, we confirm the law of karma in lived experience. Karma as empowerment, taking ownership of life instead of blaming destiny. Perhaps the most liberating aspect of karma is that it shifts power back to us. Instead of blaming gods, fate, or destiny for our suffering, we recognize, I have agency. I can choose differently. This is not blame, but empowerment. The Buddha rejected both eternalism, the idea that everything is fixed by destiny, and nihilism, the idea that nothing matters. In between lies karma. Our past influences us, but the present is always fertile with possibility. This perspective transforms the way we live. Life is no longer a series of accidents, but a garden of intention. We stop asking, why did this happen to me? And begin asking, what can I plant now? Toward collective awakening, the ripple effect of individual actions in a globalized world. In today's interconnected world, karma has never been more visible. A decision made in one country ripples globally, whether through carbon emissions, digital communication, or economic systems. The Buddha's insight into interdependence finds modern proof in globalization. This means that individual actions matter more than ever. A compassionate choice is not just personal, it contributes to collective karma. Every mindful consumer decision, every act of nonviolence, every word spoken with wisdom plants seeds that ripple outward, shaping culture and future generations. The vision is bold, a collective awakening where enough individuals choose wholesome karma that society itself shifts toward compassion, justice, and harmony. History shows this is possible. Nonviolent movements have toppled empires. Grassroots ecological efforts have reshaped policy. Every great transformation begins with seeds planted in individual hearts. Conclusion: karma as the path to liberation. When the Buddha taught karma, it was not to scare or control people, but to free them. He showed that suffering is not imposed from outside, but arises from seeds we plant and therefore can be uprooted. Karma is not punishment, it is possibility. In the modern world, where anxiety, injustice, and ecological crisis weigh heavily, karma offers a way forward. It reminds us that our choices matter, that small actions ripple outward, and that freedom lies not in controlling outcomes, but in shaping intention. To live by karma is to live awake, planting seeds of generosity, compassion, and wisdom moment by moment, knowing they will bear fruit in ourselves, our relationships, our societies, and our planet. The past has shaped us, but the future is open. With every breath, every thought, every act, we are writing the story of tomorrow.